Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator, where today we're going to play the 2020 Daytona Daddy Compound by JGMTbike, JGMX, whatever you want to call him. He's a legend. He makes amazing tracks every single time, and I finally figured it was time to bring back Track Walk, and I had to do a legendary figure in the community, do one of his tracks. And this is just an awesome compound. It features two tracks that are basically like Daytona based, I would say. Not necessarily like they are actually Daytona type tracks. One of them is a replica. This one is supposed to be like a custom, but you know, they're not in Daytona Stadium or anything like that. They're just like on a flat compound in a field. But they're both really fun. Starting off with the custom version that JGMT uploaded here. He says that it's like fully custom. It reminds me of a couple different tracks, so I think he like threw some ideas from like 2012-ish through 2017, like a couple different ideas from each of those tracks in, because it feels kind of similar in some regards, but I guess Daytona kind of can get repetitive with the way the track's shaped and the way everything's kind of laid out. But I like both of these tracks. This one in particular is a lot of fun because it's really technical, really rhythmy, and all that business. And then the other one is based off of the 2020 Daytona Supercross coming up this weekend, so I figured it was actually like a pretty good idea to do a track walk on these tracks. But yeah, track walk is back. Finally gonna get a track walk in here. It's been a while. The reason I haven't really been doing them, to be honest with you, is because I haven't been that good at sim lately. And then jumped back on the 250F last week and played a little bit more in these last couple days, and I feel like, I don't know, my speed in general is kind of coming back around. Like I feel a lot more comfortable playing the game again. And I don't know, like, not that you guys would have cared too much if I wasn't that good at the game, but I just personally don't love putting out a product where I just crash all the time, even if I'm entertaining or not when I talk. Like, just falling all the time was really kind of sucky, and I just didn't really like it. So that's kind of why track walk went away. But now that I'm getting kind of better at the game again, I wanted to get back in the swing of things and do some more track walking. I've always enjoyed doing these videos just because it's a really good way to share with you guys some of the really cool custom tracks, or just tracks in general that are being released by the community. Obviously I do like the recap videos every week of the real races on the real tracks that are done by Race Factor Gaming, but you know, this is like an actual creator that isn't always involved with the higher level process of things, that does a great job with what he does for sure, but sometimes doesn't get as high level recognition just because his tracks aren't being played like consistently, raced every week, etc. So glad to be back doing some track walks, and of course JGMX, JGMTbike legend that he is, dropping off an awesome track for us to play. So Daytona Daddy Compound, that's a play on kind of, I guess, this like battle going on between Reno Brennan and Donut MX over who is the Daytona Daddy. I didn't really even realize this was a thing, but like when I raced Donut in the YouTuber tournament that we did for Monster Energy Supercross 3, like he was going, "Oh, I'm the Daytona Daddy," and I thought it was like a joke because we actually raced each other on Daytona, and so like we were kind of, I feel like, bantering about that. But I guess it's more of like a thing that he and Reno like kind of made up or something, and they're going back and forth, and their fans or communities are getting involved, I guess. I really don't know. I'm not around enough to know that kind of stuff, but it's just kind of like a funny I guess thing that's been happening, and because of that we get an awesome track to play, because JGMTbike was like, I gotta make a track to say who's the real Daytona Daddy. But yeah, that's the backstory of where this track is coming from. As I was saying, this version of the track is like a custom track. I like so many of the elements that he decided to include on this track. I really like what he did here with this section, where like this feels so Daytona-ish. Like you got a Supercross strip where you drop into a gator pit, then you kind of hop out of it and jump back down into another gator pit, jump out of that on the flat, and then you drop back down into another one, kind of, you know, toe off of that, triple into this corner. Like such a good, fun, interesting flow that I feel like you would find on a Daytona track is that type of section. And then he also has like a rhythm section in the back of this track as well that I've amazingly got pretty cleanly the last couple laps that I've tried, that has a really good flow to it as well. I'll do 2 more laps on this track and then go to the other track. But basically, this is what I'm talking about over here. So you come out of this corner. I'm probably going to mess it up now that I'm talking about it, but you triple into this, and then you go triple, and then triple over, and then quad into the corner, basically. I would call that a quad just because there's like another landing spot in the middle there, but I guess it could be considered a triple two. Just a really good flow, really fun feel of it. Then a big like triple step up thing for the finish line, then a little on off section. Just, I don't know, like a really good, well put together track. I like this section where you go triple quad. I'm sure on a 450 you can go quad triple or maybe even quad quad onto that single right there. Just such a nice, good flow with these tracks, and definitely enjoying getting funky on them. So I want to try a couple different lines up, so we'll go inside here. I'm terrible at this inside rut because I just never get a good enough drive for the whoops, but we'll try. Oh, it somehow worked, and I'm going to triple no problem through here. Man, it looks like my speed is actually coming back semi-decently. Scrub the triple, drop down to the gator, jump back out. That reminds me a lot of like the when Stu was jumping the wall back in either 11 or 12, I think that was. That's kind of what that section looked like, where you drop down, but then you could like hop over it from one pit to the next pit, and Stu was crushing that line every lap that he was doing that, so that was really cool to see. And then some sand, classic Daytona into a Supercross triple, little whooped out section right here. And then like a carrot jump triple, kind of like a unique section. I don't feel like I've seen that very many places. And we'll go through this section. I'll tuck inside this time. And as far as I can tell, missed the inside rut. The line through here, if you go inside, is to double in. Let me restart that, try it again. Tucking the front wheel too often. It's Marty party out here. Gosh, now I'm laying it over too deep in the rut. Let me just hit the outside berm so I can at least show you guys the other rhythm that you're supposed to be able to do. So you're supposed to double in, and then hop down on this, and then triple again. A little short, and then triple up into this corner. Oh my goodness, how did I survive that? So a couple different options, kind of a cool way that that section's built. There's probably actually, if I'm on a 450, more options that I could do, but being that I'm on a 250F, I feel like maybe just a tiny bit limited what I can and can't do. It took me a little bit to learn this track, but I feel like I got it pretty dialed. And we'll hop over to the other track, which is again the 2020 version of Daytona, and I'll go down to the start so we can start from down there instead of just jumping right onto the racetrack. Daytona this week coming up, going to be a really interesting layout. It's the 50th anniversary of the Daytona Supercross, so they almost made like a weird, easier version of the track. So it starts off with this weird, really quick U-turn. It goes like barely a straightaway, and then U-turns back onto the start straight. So I'm really curious what's going to happen if someone's down in that first turn, what they're going to do. Into a set of whoops, into a wall jump, backside that, and then into another set of whoops before the finish line jump. So first to the finish line in Pulp Fantasy is going to be right there. So pick someone who's good at hole shots. Kind of switch back through here. Almost tucked the front wheel. Into a sand section. I believe there's actually going to be a wall in this sand section this week, judging by the pictures I've seen that Ricky Carmichael posted of the track. And then swivel back and forth. Then we got a Supercross triple into a decently long set of whoops here. It's not like overly long, but it's long enough. Little roller into the back here, and then swivel back around. Another roller, and then a 3-4-5-4-3 jump that we'll go 3-2 on. Cut back to the inside here, cut back to the inside here, and then kind of like a pretty simple section right here, just a little bit of an on-off, and then single up into this kind of table jump. Like I said, just a lot more basic of a layout, but Daytona, given that it's got, a 50-year history, has a lot of this type of layouts where it's, I hate to use the word basic with it, but that's kind of what it used to be. Like, it used to just be a lot of switchbacks and back and forth and the occasional gator pit, and then just some like, jumps to throw you for a curve. But for the most part, it was kind of like legitimate motocross, but outdoors. And I think that's what at least Carmichael was trying to capture a little bit with track design for this round, where it was like, let's throw it back a little bit. Let's do some kind of old school stuff. And I think it's kind of cool. Like, it's nice to have this big of a change up for Daytona, because I feel like the past, 10 years or so at Daytona, maybe even further than that though, but they've been really supercrossy. Like, they build very purpose-built rhythm sections that a lot of times match what we see in real life, so it's nothing like particularly special. It's not like we see new obstacles or objects or anything like that. We occasionally get like some carrot jumps, which aren't always a thing in Supercross. Like, They rarely use it. They used to use it a lot more often, but now it's almost like obsolete on a regular Supercross track. So sometimes the carrot jumps are nice. They obviously add like moguls and ski jumps and other things that you wouldn't also see on a regular Supercross track these days. So those things are nice, but for the most part, then they use like standard 3-foot and 5-foot singles, tables, standard Supercross triples. So I'm looking forward to the track this year because I think it's just racing-wise going to race a whole lot different than it used to. So that's going to be pretty fun to watch for sure. But yeah, Daytona Daddy Compound, a lot of fun. Again, if you guys are new to Track Walk, maybe you've just subscribed to the channel recently, I will always include the link in the description to this track so you guys can try it out for yourself. I think this is episode 185 of Track Walk, and been a lot of fun doing this series over the years just because it's given me an opportunity to play a multitude of really good community-based tracks, while also kind of showing it off to you guys and saying like, hey, if you guys want to try these tracks, seriously, you should, because there's a reason I'm playing them. I really enjoy it, like it, and I'm having a lot of fun playing them. And this track in particular, like, it was just a nice, refreshing little kind of pick-me-up today. Like, I started playing it and pretty quickly felt good on the track, which has been kind of a rare occurrence for me lately. Like, especially on Supercross, I'm not that good anymore at the game. So to immediately pick it up and feel comfortable on these tracks was a bonus for me, I would say. So a big plus. Not sure if that's going to translate to everybody and skill gap and stuff like that, but for me at least, it was an instant pickup, and I definitely enjoyed that side of it. Let me finish off one more lap, try to get a burner in here on the 2020 version of Daytona here by JGMTbike. Really fun and well-built track, I would say. Curious now after playing this to see what Race Factory is going to do for their build, like how it's going to end up being, whether it's going to be kind of similar to this, how much it's going to differ. I know there's always like this weird kind of battle on the forums of people saying, oh, JGMT should be on the track crew, he makes the best tracks and stuff like that, which he does make really good tracks. The only counter argument I'll say with that is I don't know if his tracks would be all that great for racing because they're pretty tight. And the way that Race Factory builds their tracks are more or less meant to cater to better racing because they're a little bit more open, the way everything's set up. And I'm sure JGMT could make his tracks wider. I'm not saying that, his tracks wouldn't race well if they were kind of straightened out a little bit. Just one thing I wanted to kind of hit on with, discussion about his tracks versus Race Factory tracks. Because, I mean, I don't know, like, I would definitely love to see his tracks race at one point and see how they play out. I know he's had some tracks that have been part of series before. I personally haven't been around to really see them raced yet, so I can't, say good or bad with them. But generally speaking, he gets a lot of high praise on the forums, and I think he deservedly so because he makes some really fun tracks for everybody to enjoy. So we're going to wrap up a little bit of gameplay here on the 2020 Daytona Daddy Compound by JGMTbike. Again, please head to the description down below if you guys wish to try it. And let me know your guys' thoughts on this track, whether you guys like it, whether or not you're playing with your buddies, whether or not you got it on a server, whatever, get people involved. And yeah, as always, really appreciate you guys stopping by, checking out another video here on SYS. And yeah, hopefully we'll bring Track Walk back to you guys a little bit more frequently. Have some new tracks coming out more often, it seems like, and we'll hit on them. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Appreciate it as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.